All right, I'm going to start recording now.
Okay.
All right, welcome to Transforming with Jeremy and Ellie. We have a very special show for you today. I am Jeremy Reid.
I am Ellie Safarti.
That's right. Now, if you're new to Blab, we are so happy that you're here. You're going to see a couple things. First of all, the props, the little hands you see on the screen, tells Blab how popular we are and how much you like us. So go ahead and click on each of our screens. All right, we're seeing some props come through already. Go ahead and click as many times as you want. We're not searching for likes, but it does tell Blab that you like what we're doing and gets us a little bit more recognition from them. Also, to pose a formal question on Blab, you're going to type into the message /Q. Excuse me. If you do /Q, that's going to pose a formal question. That way it goes onto the left for us, and we can then go ahead and answer it whenever we're ready to answer your question. So with that in mind, welcome, and Ellie, take it away.
Well, thank you. By the way, /Q, the letter Q, because I know that a couple of people actually spelled out QUE. So it's letter Q, and then you can write your question, and that'll come up on our question panel, and it'll be a formal question that we can actually pan out, and everybody can see what the actual question is while we're answering it. Well,
that's right.
I am extremely excited for this Blab. I want to welcome everybody. I want to introduce our guest today, straight up. Many of you, probably all of you know who he is, Mr. Drew Manning. First of all, thank you for being here with us today. Drew is coming to us all the way from Hawaii, so aloha.
Yeah, aloha. Thanks for having me on, you guys. I'm super pumped to see how this works. Like, this is so new to me, but it's actually pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
It's we started this about in the beginning of the year, last week of 2015 to start out the new year, and we've been doing it weekly, and it's growing every time, reaching a bunch of people, and we're really excited to have guests like you on here. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Drew formally. He doesn't need any formal introductions, but just in case some people don't know who he is, I'm going to read it verbatim because you know what? I'm not good at memorizing stuff. So Drew Manning is the New York Times bestseller author of the book Fit to Fat to Fit. I have my very own copy right here, signed by Mr. Drew himself. I'm very fortunate.
Signed even.
That's right, signed copy by Drew. So guys, make sure you go out, Amazon.com. Drew, you can tell us later where else they can grab it. I know that Amazon for sure has it. Awesome book. He is best known for his fit-to-fat-to-fit.com experiment. It took the media by storm. If you guys remember that year, he was all over TV. He's been featured on shows like Dr. Oz, Good Morning America, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, The View, and many, many, many more. He's a certified personal trainer through NASM, and through his Fit-to-Fat-to journey has inspired thousands across the world to embrace a healthier lifestyle change through some dramatic self-experimentations. His experiment now has a TV show, turned into a hit TV show called Fit-to-Fat-to-Fit. It airs on Tuesday nights on A&E, 10 p.m. That would be
Eastern Standard Time. 10-9 Central. Yeah, 10-9 Central on Tuesdays.
On A&E. I've actually caught a few episodes. Pretty interesting, man. Personally, I went from fat to fit. I didn't have that fit before, so I'm terrified of ever going fat again, man. So
Me too. In fact, you know what's funny is that before we even locked down having you on here, Drew, I had a few of my clients that have been watching your show, and they brought you up and brought up, hey, would you ever gain the weight back just to lose it with us? And I, you know what, honestly, I said,
that was funny.
I don't know about that.
So Drew,
I will say here, 1 second, Ellie. I'm pasting in right now the link directly to Amazon.com for the Fit to Fat to Fit book. Cool. Pick up your copy now. The link will go directly to Amazon. You can check it out. Unfortunately, it won't be signed like Ellie's copy, but it'll still be a very solid.
When you got the hookups, you got the hookups.
That's right. One of the benefits of being ridiculously good looking like Ellie Safarti. So.
Thank you. So Drew, we all, I know your story. I read your book. We've spoken a few times personally, but dude, everybody wants to know what would get a guy like you, a fitness model, great looking dude, ripped. No, seriously. I mean, it's not, I'm not even trying to like stroke your ego, but you know, here's a guy, you know, we work so hard to be fit. Okay. And here you are, like, you know, in the best shape. I mean, people die to look like you. You know, you're on, you know, you could be on the cover of Men's Health and all these things. And all of a sudden you decide to purposely gain over 80 pounds. Why?
That's the golden question, right? And here's the thing is, when you grow up a certain way, for example, if you've grown up in shape your whole life, that's all you know. And your perception of weight loss is so different than someone who's grown up the opposite of that, who's been overweight, who's struggled with weight loss, who's struggled with cravings. And so becoming a personal trainer, I had a very black and white mentality when it came to helping people. You know, either you chose to be healthy and you exercise and you ate healthy food. It's so simple to do. But the problem is I didn't understand the difference between easy and simple. I thought it was easy for everybody. I'm like, look, just eat healthy and exercise. Why is that so hard? It's not that hard to let go of soda, stop drinking soda, go to the gym. And so I had this mentality, this black and white mentality that didn't connect too well with my clients who were overweight, because they would tell me, you know what, Drew, you don't understand what it's like. And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. Why is it so hard? It's not that hard. And so I felt like maybe there's something I needed to learn as a trainer. For whatever reason, you guys, this idea of purposely gaining weight clicked in my mind. I know it sounds crazy, but it made sense to me. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. So I checked with my wife. I checked with my friends. And I'm like, I think I'm going to do this. What do you guys think? And everyone's like, you should do it. It'll be good for you. And it'll be crazy, you know, but I think it'll be good. And so I decided to do it, man. I just kind of ran with it. And then at the same time, you know, I wanted to show people just how unhealthy the typical American diet really is. We've all seen Super Size Me. We've all seen what fast food does. What I wanted to do with my journey was show people the everyday foods that we grow up on that we don't think are that unhealthy. And those are the foods that I focused on 90% of the time in my journey. And we can get into that a little bit later, but those are the reasons why.
So were you afraid? Were you scared when you decided to go, you know, I mean, again, I don't know what it is to be, you know, to have grown up uber fit. I still don't know what it is to be uber fit. I mean,
I don't either. I'm a kid.
I mean, I'm in great shape, like, you know, physically, as far as, you know, I can run many, many miles and lift and stuff, but you know what I mean? I didn't grow up, you know, that guy. I wasn't that athlete. I was the scrub. I was the bench warmer. I was all of these different things. So for me, I don't know what it was to live the way you did. So was it scary to you to make that decision?
Well, at the time, I was actually, it was a little bit scary, but it was more so exciting. You know, the thought of having this freedom of not working out and eating whatever you wanted to was kind of like, it was very exciting for me at the time. I'm like, this sounds actually kind of cool. It did get scary as the weight started piling on. And that's where the surprises came from, and the changes in my perception about my journey. And that's what my book goes into, was, okay, this is way more mental and emotional than I thought. I thought I was just going to get fat. I wasn't ready for the mental and emotional side of how it was going to affect me. So it got scary as it went on. And then especially how quickly the weight came on. I mean, I thought I was going to gain 50 to 60 pounds, ended up gaining 76 at my heaviest. So yeah, man, it was the scariness in the beginning was kind of masked by the excitement of it all.
And question real quick, after your experience with all of this, you know, you wrote a book, you've been successful with that, you've been successful with other things, but has this changed your way that you interact with people that have struggled with this their whole life? Completely.
It's totally changed the way I view and help people that are struggling with weight loss. Before, and I'll give an example, before as a trainer, I focused so much on the physical. You know, eat less, exercise more, let's change up your meal plans, let's change up your workouts, let's focus on the physical side of weight loss. But I had no connection to the mental and emotional side over here, because I didn't understand why that was so hard for people. You know, just to do it seemed so easy, until I went through this journey and realized how much of transformation is mental and emotional. And I couldn't connect with that side before because I never experienced it. Why is there such an emotional connection to food? I had no idea.
Right.
Until I did this.
And there's so many people out there who, you know, the people that need to lose 10 or 20 pounds. I mean, you know, that's maybe just bad diet. You know, they went out and partied a little bit too much over the winter, whatever it may be. But when you're talking about these people that have 60, 70, 80, 100, 200 pounds to lose, there is a very different element to their weight loss. And I can speak from personal. I mean, Allie and I have done countless videos and blabs and conversations. And it's the basis of what we have entire businesses surrounded on. But it is a very, very different element. It is not just, oh, you know what? I actually forgot to go to the gym for 2 weeks. It is very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's a very, very unique experience. And it's no wonder why you've gotten so much credit and popularity and attention for what you've done, because you've forced yourself into the situation of somebody that has these real life issues and seen the mental battle that comes along with it, with everything goes along with it.
Let me tell you something, Drew. I don't know if you remember, but many years ago, when your experiment first came on, I actually reached out to you on social media, and I was pissed, man. I was upset at you.
I remember.
I was upset at you because, first of all, I didn't know you, so it was one of those first immediate judgments, right?
Yeah.
Who does this guy think he is? Okay. Sure. How can he think that by purposely gaining 80 pounds in a matter of a few months, right? How dare he think he knows what my life was like? Okay.
I remember this. So
I reached out to you, but I want to make something very clear to everybody watching is I've gotten to know Drew a little bit. We've spoken personally over the phone a few times, and we've communicated. I've read his book. I've seen his stuff. I follow his stuff on social media, TV, his book, all this stuff. And I can tell you, this guy's the real deal, man. This guy is humble. Show him your shirt, man. I have the same shirt, by the way. It says,
yeah, man. Stay humble. Stay
humble. Stay hungry. I can tell you that this guy is definitely humble. He's the real deal. He really wants to help people, and his experiment was reality. It wasn't. I don't think you expected this to blow up the way that it did. I don't think that you came one day and said, I'm gonna make a ton of money. I'm gonna become famous from this. I think you really did it from the heart. I truly believe. I'm confident you did it from the heart, and because of that, it's become so successful. So I just wanted to let people know out there that you're the real deal, man. When they follow you and see this, that I've asked those questions myself.
Well, thank you.
So. No, please, man. Thank you for being here.
So, I'm really sorry about the brick through your window. I'm really sorry about all that.
That was you, wasn't it?
The death threats, the internet hacking. Oh, it was an act. It was, hey, it was. I'm sorry.
No, that means a lot to me, Elliot. It really does. Because I remember you reaching out to me at that time, and I knew that there was going to be some people that were going to be upset about it, especially in the beginning when they didn't understand why I was doing this. And they thought that, oh, he's just doing this. He's a marketing genius. He did all this to get on these shows and promote products and do all these things. And it's a gimmick. Honestly, and thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me coming from you. Like that was the purpose behind it. I had no connections with the media. I had no connections to Jay Leno or Dr. Oz. I didn't plan a book. I didn't plan for any of this to become my brand or my career. It really did come from passion. I think that's why it's survived, 5 years now.
100%
and now this TV show,
why it's so successful. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I didn't do it. I didn't set out with the intention to, okay, this is how I can make money from this. This wasn't the intention. So I appreciate that, man. And it just really does come down to empathy. And once people take the time to, listen to my blogs and watch my videos and things like that, they understand where I'm coming from. And that is the difference, in my opinion. Versus
had it been
the lady from England that did this to kind of rub it in people's face. I don't know if you saw her.
Yeah. I don't remember her name
I'm talking
because
about.
She was easy to forget, but yes.
That's my whole point.
There you go.
That's my whole point is had it been this big marketing strategy, had it been money-making strategy, it would not have gone this far.
Yeah.
It's because it was genuine, and because of the lessons learned, and because of how impactful it was to you personally. There's no doubt that that's why it has gone to a level it has right now, because it was genuine and real.
Yeah.
Had it just been some, marketing ploy, some advertising strategy, it never would have gotten to the level it did right now.
Absolutely not. And so we know you got so you wrote your book, okay, which is you have a copy of my book. I signed it for you. We kind of traded out there, and I know that when I was writing my book, going out to write my book, everybody that was in the publishing industry said, if you're planning to write a book to make money, don't write it. Yep. Okay. Write it in order if you have a passion, great. You make money, you may not make money. It's an expensive business card. So you wrote out a book, which is, I'm sure what most people read out a book with a passion is to be able to reach the masses. So we got that part. You have your blog, you have your blog, and you have your radio, what is it called? Podcast. I can't remember what it was. Your podcast, exactly. So how did the show come about? How did it come about, and what is it that you want people to know? There's a reason behind it. What's the reason behind the show?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me back up to 5 years ago, where the idea of the TV show first started. And it all happened in LA when I was out there on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. A production company reached out to me, saw my journey, and they said, "Hey, we have a great idea for a TV show. We want to pitch to you." And I accepted their invitation and listened to their pitch. And I'm like, this sounds like a great idea, because my whole goal with Fit to Fit, and like I started, I didn't know how to make a website or create a YouTube channel. I learned how to do all that myself because I wanted to impact the masses. Like you said, as a part-time personal trainer, I maybe changed 2 people's lives a week, or tried to, right? I could focus on just those 2 people because I had a family and other things. So I wanted to do something online, and I knew that doing something with my website and YouTube channel could reach the masses and inspire so many more people. And so the idea behind the TV show was to inspire even more people, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, hopefully one day, to embrace a healthier lifestyle change. So I met with this company, this production company out of LA. We pitched the show. And nobody picked it up. It was dead in the water. We went to ABC, NBC, Fox, all the big names, and no one picked it up. And so I just kind of moved on with my brand, just thinking, well, we tried. And then fast forward to about a year and a half ago, they reached back out to me and said, "Hey, we really feel like we missed an opportunity. We really believe in your brand and what you're trying to do with getting people to embrace a healthier lifestyle change. Let's go repitch this." I said, "Let's do it." And 2 weeks later, I get a call and they say, "Congrats, A&E bought the TV show." And so now the whole idea with me being a part of the TV show as a producer, sorry, not the executive producer, as a producer, is to really, yeah, I don't want to claim that title, actually. My buddy, the executive producer, will piss at me if I do. Anyways, the whole idea of bringing me on as a producer was to make sure and shape the show to what my experience was. I humbled, and my eyes were opened, and I learned a lot of valuable lessons. And that's why, as I was saying, a lot of people were able to relate to it, was because of that. They saw how it changed me. And so my whole role on the show is to get these trainers to go through the same experience, hopefully, and come out more empathetic, more respectful, a better understanding, not a complete understanding. I don't pretend to know exactly what it's like. I don't want people to, and that's why people got offended. They think, "Oh, Drew's doing this, and now he thinks he knows." And these trainers are doing it for 4 months, and now they think they know. That's not the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show, and for me, is to get these trainers to gain a better understanding for themselves, to kind of see how hard it is. Because when they've been in shape for so long, no matter who you are, you think it's easier than what it really is for people who have not been in shape their whole life. Right. And so that's the whole idea, is to get these trainers out of that comfort zone and to kind of see how hard it is. And so that was my role on the show as a producer, to make sure it followed those lines of those things I learned, so it didn't come across as gimmicky. And
I'm sure you're getting a lot of responses from viewers, fans, etc. What kind of feedback are you getting? How are people being inspired by this? How are people being motivated by this?
That's a great question. It's very similar to when I did my journey. When people watch the show and understand the reason, the why behind it, then they're 90% positive. It's those who don't understand the why behind it. They think this is a gimmick, and they're doing it to rub it in people's faces who are overweight, or they think it's fat shaming, but they don't watch the show. Once they see the why behind the show, they understand it's about 90% positive, man. Ratings are really good. It's A&E is very happy with the show, and that's why they're casting for season 2 now. And we can even put a link to that if the people are watching want to apply for the show as a trainer or a client.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Jerry. I know you have a question there burning in your mind.
No, I was just going to say, it goes along with everything. I mean, not even outside of the fitness industry, you're going to have the people that don't even watch it, but are going to voice their opinion. These keyboard warriors everywhere that are going to voice their opinion based on what they think on an advertisement or a photo or what a friend said or what somebody, I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, it makes perfect sense on what you're saying. And I'm really glad that you even added one step further of, hey, not trying to pretend that we know what it's like to be overweight for 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
But just a struggle of needing to lose that much weight and the emotional baggage that kind of comes along with that. I mean, it's huge. And it makes a lot of sense. I do have a couple questions here that maybe we can do right now and then move on. But Carrie Miller says, Drew, what has been the biggest change in understanding for you when working with those of us that fight the emotional battle with food?
Yeah, so when I'm helping somebody that's struggling with their weight loss and overcoming that emotional connection to food, it's setting up a strategy for them, not focused on weight loss at all, but setting up strategies for them to win at home when they're by themselves. Right? As a trainer, you're with that person for 1 hour out of the day, and the other 23 hours, you hope that they're making the right decision. So instead of me focusing on helping them exercise during that hour, my main focus now as a trainer is to help them set up strategies for, okay, what do you do in this situation? How are we going to meal prep? When do you have time based on your schedule? Setting them up for these mental and emotional battles. And if I can help them overcome those when they're by themselves, that's how you make it a lifestyle change versus just another diet. So the most of my focus is on the mental and emotional side. They can get meal plans and workouts anywhere online for free. That I don't need to provide that for the most part. That's not what people struggle with. People struggle with how to maintain this lifestyle over the long term.
For meal plans and training programs, please visit JeremyReidFitness.com.
There you go.
Yeah. And I found the same thing. I mean, that's, I've been in this full time for years now, and it really is only a very small percentage of my week's work goes into actually putting forth fitness and nutrition plans. The rest is dealing with the reality of life, the reality of how people deal with stress and emotions and how they take that out. And in majority of my clients' needs, it's food, right? And so we have to meet them where they're at and deal with them on that level. And it is a very, very big deal.
And because it's so individual. It's so individual. It's not just black and white.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right. If it was, one person would create a book with a step 1, 2, and 3, and all of our world's obesity would be solved. But it's not. We all struggle in different ways, and we all have different weaknesses. I do want to point out, just as you can scroll up and you can find Drew's link to his book in the message box. I also pasted in, because we did mention it, and he is a published author. Ellie Sephardi's book, Fat Boy to Fit Man, is in there as well. So you can click a link and go directly to his book as well on Amazon. So again, it won't be signed like my copy.
That's right.
It won't be signed. But it will be quality copy of the book.
So Drew, when you were at your heaviest, tell us a little bit about. Listen, you're talking here to two former fat guys, very overweight guys. Okay, we were heavier than you're 76 pounds overweight for sure, and I'm sure there's a lot of people viewing tonight that may be in the same boat. So share with us a little bit about, let's say, two of the most difficult mental battles that you had and how you were able to overcome them.
That's a good question, because for me, it was different versus you guys. I was doing this on purpose as an experiment. So my experience of being overweight was totally different because I had related my whole life, my identity with my body. I identified myself as the guy with the six pack. And so for me being overweight, once that was gone, I kind of freaked out. I didn't know who I was, you guys. So that's why I struggle with my confidence and my self-esteem, where someone who's been overweight for years, probably has learned to deal with their confidence and self-esteem in some ways to where they're like, you know what, I'm a good guy. Like, I'm a happy guy, even though I'm overweight. Whereas for me, I didn't know how to deal with it. I wanted to go up to complete strangers and tell them, look, I'm not normally overweight. This isn't really me. Like, here's an old picture of me.
Let me show you a photo on my phone of what I used to be. No, hold on. This is what I used to be right here. This used to be me.
So that was me. I was freaking out. I wanted to tell complete strangers, this isn't normally me. And so I kind of had an identity crisis there. And that's why I suffer with my self-esteem and my confidence. And so I can't really say my experience was what you guys struggled with. For me, I will say,
but we do want to know your experience to see how it can be relatable to others that are watching now. That, you know what, everybody's experience can help everybody. You know, the way that you reach out to people, you may hit somebody this way, and I may hit somebody that way, and Jeremy may hit somebody this way. So I think we all learn from each other, and it's very important. And we're clear, man. We know that you're not, you know, claiming that you know what it is to be overweight your entire life. But what you did was very important, and it is. And there may even be people out here that were that athlete in high school and in college and gained massive amount of weight, significant amount of weight after getting married, life, et cetera, et cetera. So you never know. And,
pregnant.
You know, so you never know what it could be. So we really appreciate it. And please feel free to share your personal experience.
Okay, yeah, I know that's actually a great point, because I think there are a lot of people out there who do have their own fit to fat to fit story, you know, as a former athlete or whatever, used to be in shape. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and they go through the same thing. They kind of go through this depressed mode of, I wish I was like this, like when I was back in high school. And the first thing I would say is, you know, we are not defined by what our bodies look like. No matter what the fitness industry tells you, no matter what the Fitspo pictures tell you, you are not your body. So whether you're overweight or whether you have a six-pack, that does not define who you are. So first, let's just say that, get that out there. Like, if you can start out with self-love before you even start on your fitness journey, you're light years ahead of everyone else who think that once they have the perfect body, then they'll reach happiness. But the key is to find happiness where you're at now, and then just letting yourself know that you're becoming a better version of yourself over time as you become healthier. Not so much skinnier or you know, lower body fat percentage, but healthier over time. So I would say that first. And then another thing I want to share about my experience, you guys, was the transition back to fit. So here I was, 76 pounds overweight, and now I had to walk the walk, put my money where my mouth was, and actually lose the weight. And I don't care who you are, 76 pounds is not easy to lose. Even as a trainer who had only been overweight for 6 months, this is where my eyes were really opened on my journey back to fit. So here I was trying to lose this weight, and the first 2 weeks, you guys, were literally hell for me to go through. I never experienced withdrawal symptoms like I had when I went off of my Cinnamon Toast Crunch and my Mountain Dew, which I love.
That was my vibe too.
Those are my
as well, pack Mountain Dew.
I used to love that food, and all of a sudden not having it anymore really opened up my eyes to how powerful the emotional connection to food really is. Whereas before, you know, I would tell my clients, look, just stop drinking the soda. It's not that hard. And so having gone through this and seeing how hard it was, how miserable I was. I mean, the grumpiness, the moodiness, the headaches that I had never experienced that before. And I realized, wow, this is what my clients were trying to tell me when I try to get them off of the soda or the junk food. And just understanding that how powerful food cravings are really gave me some empathy to my clients where I was going about it all wrong before. Trying to think people could overcome that.
Before you go on, I want to interrupt you and ask you, because this is very important. So you know what? It is addicting, and it's more addicting than just emotional, and you know that. Mountain Dew, especially Cinnamon Toast Crunch, especially. We're talking about serious caffeine and sugar in a combination. Okay, well, Mountain Dew it is. So how do you go cold turkey? Is there? Did you find a way of weaning off of it? And if you did, or if you didn't, is there a way that you can explain to others the easiest way, if you will, of weaning off of something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, I did go cold turkey just because the way my project was set was I had 6 months to lose this weight. So I knew I didn't have time to wean myself off. Now, for some people who aren't in a hurry, weaning yourself off is probably the easiest way to go, because it's not like all of a sudden. Most people that are addicted to soda, I mean, I'll be honest, most people that have some type of food addiction, they say soda is like the hardest thing to give up for them, right? They could get rid of some other food, but soda, for whatever reason, from what I found, for a lot of people, is very, very addictive and really hard to give up. And so weaning yourself off is probably the easiest way to go. But for me, I just wanted to do it like a Band-Aid, rip it off. And here's the thing. For 2 weeks, I went through hell. I mean, it really does suck. Your body fights back, and it craves these foods that you've been set up to be addicted to for so long. And now you don't give your body what it wants. It fights back, and you feel miserable, even though you're eating healthy food. but your body eventually adjusts. Give yourself time. Be patient with yourself. If you're going to struggle a little bit, but your body will adjust, and it does get better. Those cravings become more manageable. The moodiness and the headaches go away eventually. Just give yourself some time. And even if you're weaning yourself off, you're still going to notice some of those symptoms. Most people will. But you just got to give yourself time and have more of a marathon mentality instead of a sprinter's mentality. Like here in America, we focus on how much weight can I lose as quickly as possible with the least amount of effort. Right. That's our whole mentality. We got to shift that focus and have more of a marathon mentality and realize that this isn't a race. This is going to be a lifelong journey that we're on. So give yourself some time, be patient, and it does get better over time if you stay consistent.
Well, we live in a society, just forget weight loss, just everything in general is instant gratification. And I think that's the issue, is that we want it now, and we want the new and improved now, and that includes a body. We want to be able to go in, and that's why, listen, there's some great supplements out there, and there's some great supplement companies that really produce awesome products that are again, supplementation for a healthy diet and a physical lifestyle. But we all know that there's tons and tons and tons of companies that are offering, the quick fix, the pill, the this, the that. Folks, it doesn't work. And Drew, if you can back me up on this, because there's so many people that reach out to me and tell me, what can I take? And I'm like, take yourself to the gym.
Take yourself to the meat and vegetable.
Take yourself, outside of take yourself out of McDonald's is what you can take. And we joke, and we do have to have a little bit of a sense of humor when it comes to this, because this could be some heavy stuff, man. And I don't want to, bog down. People are already bogged down as it is. They're a lot of times depressed. They're anxious. They're frustrated. You talk about, you spoke about confidence, and you're like, well, there's probably people that deal with, build up their confidence throughout the years because they were heavy their entire lives.
Yep.
I was the fat kid. I was a chubby kid, which ended up being a chubby teenager. I lost some weight in between, so I was kind of, what you would call normal. But then I became this obese adult. Yeah. And as much as you would think, my personality is exactly the same. If you ever met people that know me from back in the day, they'll tell me, dude, this guy's the exact same. Hasn't changed a bit, okay? But deep inside, man, you would think I was as confident as anything, but inside I wasn't. It took me, even after losing the weight, even after getting the compliments, even after being told that I look like Drew Manning, it took me a long time to build up that confidence. And that's part of what I think that you're talking about, Drew, is that, that physical part, as difficult as it may seem to some people, really is the easiest part. It's the mental part that is really, really the most difficult part that we have to deal with, and it's something that we have to practice day in and day out to be able to get our minds strong and really, take out all those thoughts that we've had since we're children. God knows, I can rattle off a million things that I was told being, overweight as a child and a teenager and even as an adult that took me a long time to take out of my subconscious mind and say, no, that's not the way it is.
Right. But it's like anything else. I mean, you take any situation, abusive relationship, and a mentally abusive upbringing, whatever it may be, when you've had somebody pounding into you that you are a certain way for even a year or two, let alone 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, even after that's gone, it is still impactful on your brain. It's still something that you believe is true. And I mean, Ellie and I have had blabs in the past, just even in January, where I spoke about my experience. And after I'd already lost the weight, already gained 50 pounds of muscle, and I'm on the beaches of Mexico still feeling fat, even when people are coming up to me saying, "Oh my God, who are you? You look amazing." And it's one of these situations where, because I had 20 some years of like fat boy, and then all of us, it does not go away overnight. And this is something that we continue to work on. And I know, some of these names in the comment box, if you're looking, Drew, some of these people have been with us for day one.
Cool.
And I know for a fact that some of these people are feeling the same exact way that I'm talking about right now, because they've felt Ellie and I from the second we open our mouth. They know what we're saying is true, and they felt the exact same things. It is a very, very real and powerful thing.
Being able to give us another perspective, which is the perspective of you, this ripped guy, this athlete, his entire life, and this project, man. I can't even thank you enough. Years ago, I bashed you about it because I didn't know enough about you or the project. But I am
the brick through your window.
I tell you, man, I really thank you, guys. For those of you who are just joining us, this is Drew Manning, New York Times bestseller. His book, Fit to Fat to Fit. Right here, you can pick it up on Amazon.com. I'm sure it's in Barnes and Nobles as well, and many other bookstores. Drew is the creator of A&E's new TV hit show by the same name, Fit to Fat to Fit, where, you know what, Drew, I'm going to let you tell a little bit. There's some people that joined us late. Just recap a little bit about what the show is all about.
Yeah, let me do that because I want to say one of the purposes of the show as well. So basically what the show is in a nutshell is based off of my Fit to Fit journey, where 10 trainers from across the country have to do what I did. They have to, for 4 months, let go of their diet and exercise. They have to try and embrace the lifestyle of their client that they're going to be helping. So for 4 months, they let themselves go, no exercise, eat whatever they want to gain as much weight as possible, right? And then after those 4 months, they get teamed up with a client who's obese. And together as a team, and now as an overweight trainer, they have to get back to fit together as a team. And it's like nothing else there's nothing else like it on TV. There's not, it's totally different from The Biggest Loser, in that the trainers are trying to gain a better understanding for themselves just how hard it is for their clients. We've already talked about it's not the same. We're not trying to compare the two. Of course, the trainer is going to lose weight quicker, most likely, and have muscle memory. That's not the point of it. The point of it is for the trainers to gain some empathy, some respect, and a better understanding for themselves. Because here's what I see that exists in this world, especially when it comes into the fitness industry. You have people on these two sides. You have your skinny, fit people over here who can be very, very judgmental towards people who are overweight and don't understand and think, well, they're so lazy. What's wrong with them? Just eat healthy, eat less hamburgers. Like, what's wrong with you? And there's judgment that goes on both sides. My whole goal with Fit to Fit, you guys, my brand and the TV show, is to kind of bridge that gap that exists out there and to gain a better understanding, more empathy, so that these clients that are struggling are more motivated and feel more respected and feel like they are understood better to follow along with those trainers. Because, I mean, let's be honest, most people look at a trainer with a six-pack, and are like, how can I relate to that? That's not like, that guy's telling me, yelling at me to tell me to do 50 more push-ups. Like, I can't relate to that. And now,
screw you, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I was gonna say that.
Screw you. And now they see these trainers struggle physically, mentally, and emotionally, and they're not saying, "Oh, now they know what it's like to be me," but they say they're trying so hard to understand where I'm coming from, and that makes these clients. I mean, if you watch the show, you see these clients so motivated to want to help out their trainer because their trainer's trying to understand where they're coming from. And it's so inspirational to see the bond that happens after these trainers do this journey and they come out of it a better trainer, and these clients are so much more motivated than if it was just Jillian Michaels yelling at them for 4 months to lose the weight. I mean, I have each client on my podcast after their episode airs, and I ask each one, did you find value in your trainer putting on this weight for you versus if they had not and was just a normal trainer? And all of them say yes. Like, it totally changed the perception of the trainers that exist out there, and it made them so much more motivated. The way I try and describe it to people is all these trainers like me who had been in shape their whole life are on top of this mountain their entire life, trying to yell at their clients at the bottom to keep climbing and stop giving up and to keep pushing. You're almost there. It's so easy from the top. But now looking at this mountain from the bottom, the trainers are coming down the mountain and looking up. It's a totally different perspective. It's way harder than they think. And now they're climbing back up the mountain with their client. And so
that's a great metaphor, man. I honestly, that is really a great metaphor. And I never heard of it, and I never even really thought of it that way. And it really is a great metaphor. And your show, honestly, we wish you a lot of continued success, not only in your show, but with your brand and your message to the world. We need more people like you out there to help Jeremy and I spread the message. Like I said, we each have our own way of delivering it.
Yes.
And not everybody is going to listen to Drew Manning or may not resonate with you. Not everybody's going to resonate with me. Not everybody's going to resonate with Jeremy. So, we need more people like us out there to be able to cover the billions of people that are in the world that really need the motivation. And you know what? I know Drew for a fact that you have a ton of people that reach out to you that are not overweight, that are just saying, you motivate me just to be a better dad. Or, I know that you did a podcast with a buddy of yours about that, but, be a better dad, be a better, businessman, be a better husband, be a better whatever it is, and that's the entire idea. We speak about weight loss and we talk about getting healthier and fitter, etc. But at the end of the day, all of that is, comes down into, our life, and our life is full of all of these other things. And your way of dealing with it, Jeremy's way of dealing with it, my way of dealing with it, not just weight loss, but we can use that for everything else in our life. So once again, man, thank you very much. Guys, we're here with Drew Manning, and please, we're coming down to almost the top of the hour, close. He wants your questions. We got the man live right here.
Bring your questions in. I do have a question, and since I'm on here, I'm gonna take precedence over anybody else. So,
where'd he go?
Hello.
That's what happened. That's what happened for saying he has precedence over everybody else.
He got
cut
what
off. I'm saying? That's right. He said, "Oh yeah, click right there, man." Well, you know what, Jeremy? So let's see if we have. Let's see, questions. We have a bunch of great comments here. It says, you men are helping change the face of training, coaching in a country that needs it badly. Keep preaching out there. Thank you so much, Carrie Miller. Have been following all three of you on Facebook for over a year, and I love the variety, plus no excuses, Mom. Thank you again. Guys, please, keep following us. Keep doing what you're doing. Reach out to us on social media. Jeremy, myself, and I know Drew for a fact, interacts with all of you and your questions, and we try to respond to as many people as we can. But guess what? Drew's here, so ask him your questions. Let's see. Gary Willis says.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say I see some on the right hand side. Go ahead.
Yeah, Drew, is there a specific meal plan and exercise regimen that you recommend that brings accelerated fat loss? I'll let you take that one, man.
We get that question all the time, and here's the thing: it's so individual. But here's one recommendation I would give to a lot of people out there that might resonate with some of you, because I could easily say, oh yeah, paleo or vegan or keto, and that's what I found works best for me. Be your own self-experimenter. Experiment with your body and find what works for you. So, like, let's say you've been doing Atkins the past 3 years and it hasn't really worked out, or maybe it did in the beginning, but you kind of hit a plateau. Try something new that is out there. Like right now, I'm doing a little experiment with ketosis, ketogenic diet, which is a very high fat, moderate protein, low carb, and I'm seeing good results on it. But my body's different than your body, so find what works for you. Give yourself 30 to 60 days with your experiment and see what works for you. Notice the changes that you're going through, what benefits you notice. Don't just base it all on weight loss, because I could give you a starvation, diet and you'll lose a lot of weight, but does that mean you're successful? I mean, you could eat 1,000 calories of donuts and lose weight on it, but you're probably not becoming healthier. So find what works for you and something that is sustainable for, a long term, instead of like, a low calorie diet, which is you're going to get, pretty burnt out of like pretty quickly. So find something that's sustainable that works for you and your schedule. I've had a lot of people tell me they're doing really well on an intermittent fasting type of diet nowadays, which is where you fast for 16 hours and you eat within an 8-hour window. So there's a lot of options out there. I can't really say just do this one, but there's a lot of good ones out there.
Well, thank you, man. That's what we preach also, is that there's a lot of stuff out there and that everybody is different. There's a lot of roads to the destination that we're all looking for. So, find the road that works for you. Sometimes a couple of roads work. Sometimes this road is good today, but it has a traffic jam tomorrow, and you got to find, the detour. And that's what Drew is talking about. So the next question here comes from Debbie Reid. I'm going to assume, now I'm not going to assume, I happen to know that this is Mrs. Jeremy Reid herself. And she wants to know, what's next for you, Drew? What's up next for you, man?
That's a great question. So I got my fingers crossed, and my hope is that a season 2 of Fit to Fat to Fit will be happening. Right now we are casting for season 2. So if you guys know any trainers that are crazy enough to do this for season 2, or any clients that want to be on the show, they can go to fattofitcasting.com. That's FAT2 casting.com to apply for the show. So my hope is that there will be a season 2 and a season 3, and to start this whole Fit to Fat to Fit movement, you guys, where trainers are becoming more empathetic and more understanding, and clients are more willing to listen and feel less judged to be motivated to embrace a healthier lifestyle change. There he is.
Yeah, I had some technical difficulties on my side. This is the second week in a row. Mark my word, this computer's going in the garbage tomorrow morning. So it's new too, which
I'm
sucks.
surprised you didn't slam it now, man.
I did.
So we were just Mrs. Jeremy Reid asked a question of what's next for Mr. Drew Manning, and Drew he's hoping for season 2 of his A&E hit show Fit to Fat to Fit. Man, don't hope, dude. Season 2. That's a slam dunk, man.
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I put the link in the thing over here. It's FAT2 Fit Casting. So
gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to actually take that out here. Yeah. I'm sorry.
What was your question, perfect. Jeremy? We should probably let Jeremy get his question.
No, actually, my lovely, beautiful assistant, Mrs. Debbie Reid, she heard me talking because she's downstairs.
Okay.
And it had been frozen up, and I didn't know that. So she heard my finished question of Drew, and I was buttering you up. I was like, after the book, the New York Times bestseller, and all this stuff, what's next? And so she typed in my question for me of what's next. That's what I was leading to say.
That's what you're trying to. Okay, yeah. So we answered that question. Yeah, my hope is to start this Fit to Fat to Fit movement and really change the perception of the way people see trainers and the way people see clients. And like you said, different people are motivated by different things, and I think there's going to be a lot of people. There are a lot of people motivated by this whole Fit to Fat to Fit idea, and and some people are motivated by Biggest Loser or Extreme Weight Loss, or you name it. There's different programs out there.
And Drew, we've got a few different questions going on here, and some of them I see have the same exact kind of theme.
Yeah.
How long does it take? How long does it take to lose weight? How long does it take to change your life? How long does it take to make the turn over to healthier eating and all of this stuff? I'm not even gonna put my opinion on there. What's your answer to
that? As long as it needs to take. Here's the thing, Ellie, you had a great quote today. About setting goals. Don't set X amount of pounds in X amount of months as your goal, because that's outside of your control. And I actually love that, man. You posted that today? Was that today?
That's what's today, yeah.
All right, it showed up in my newsfeed today, and that is great because, a lot of that is out of our control. Not to say you shouldn't have goals like those measurable goals, but weight loss isn't the biggest thing, you guys. The biggest thing that we should be shooting for is more so fat loss, right? Maintaining your lean muscle mass, losing the fat. Weight loss, anybody can, if you starve yourself, you can lose weight, but that doesn't mean you're becoming healthier. So just because you're skinny or just because you're losing a lot of weight fast doesn't mean whatever program you're on is all of a sudden working. Focus on embracing a healthier lifestyle change and becoming medically healthy first. Weight loss will take care of itself over time, in my opinion. I lost 76 pounds in 6 months. That's me. It's going to be totally different for each person. I would rather people focus more so on fat loss instead of weight loss. So go get your body fat tested using a bod pod or a DEXA scan of some type. Those things are becoming more accessible nowadays, and that's a lot more telling of what's going on inside your body instead of just your relationship with gravity on the scale.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, and we get that question all of the time, as I'm sure that a lot of trainers and people in the fitness industry do, and it's frustrating because people tell me, one of the first things when people find out people that don't know me and they find out that I lost 110 pounds is,
Yeah.
how long did it take you? Well, I tell them, I said, it took me about 12 to 14 months. I really stopped counting and like 100 pounds, which was about 12 months. So I'm not really sure. I couldn't give you an exact time frame, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of variables, and the variables are, how hard are you working? How much weight do you have to lose? You know, how old are you? How tall are you? Are you male? Are you female? You know, do you have any health conditions? There isn't one cookie cutter response to that. Everybody loses weight at different times, and that's why I posted what I did today. It's actually not the first time I post that, but it's such a powerful thing, because it's really, don't set a goal of X amount of weight by X time period. Because at the end of the day, you know, and people tell me, I want to lose 30 pounds by June. And I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. If by June you lost 27 pounds, you would be considered a failure, right?
Yeah.
if that's what your goal was, then you failed, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man, that's not a failure at all. So I say set goals such as, I'm going to get my body in motion every day for X amount of minutes. I'm going to remove this, you know, bad food, Mountain Dew and Cinnamon Toast Crunch from my diet, and I'm going to replace it with bananas, apples, and strawberries. For an example, that's a real goal. You have control over that, okay? But you don't have control over how much muscle you gain. You have control over how hard you lift at the gym, how often you go, how well you recover, you know, how much sleep you get, etc. But you have no control over, man, I've been working on these puppies for a long time. Dude, they don't grow at the speed that I want them to grow. I want to look like Jeremy Reid, but I can't get there, man. Exactly.
There it is.
That's what I'm saying. But guess what? I know that I'm a different body type. Somebody mentioned here, I'm going to go up here. Drew, what's the best way for endomorph? You know, endomorph. That's that's somebody that can gain weight. You know, for the funny thing is, for somebody that's overweight and I can gain weight very quickly, I can't gain muscle mass that quickly. You know, so once again, guys, you know, how long does it take? I know we all want to get there, but I promise you, it takes less time than you think. But you have to put the work in.
And I'll interject here. And Ellie and I have said this several times on different labs. And this goes right along with what Drew was saying. If we put the focus on changing your lifestyle, identify the things that got you to your starting point to begin with, and start working on those, whether it be one at a time or all in, whatever you're ready for. If we start working on our lifestyle, the fat loss, the muscle gain, the whatever will come as a result of those efforts. If we start putting our entire focus on the scale, our entire, you know, we're focusing on the wrong thing. We need to focus on the reason why you were how you were to begin with, right? If we start working on those, you'll never have a weight problem ever again.
Exactly.
You'll never have to lose that 2 pounds or 3 pounds that you lost in that week, whatever it may be. You'll never have to lose that weight again. You work on your lifestyle and you're free of the bondage that you've set yourself in for many, many years. And then at that point, and we've got questions here. How much cardio did you do? What was the carb to protein ratio that you used? All these people feel like that's the answer. And you're right. There is some expedited, you know, processes based on getting things right. But the real reason is identify the reasons why you're in the starting place. Why is your start photo the way it is? Identify that in your lifestyle and start working on that. And everything else will fall in place, right?
Here's a great question for you. Do you find a big difference in the way men versus women are motivated to change and become healthier? Have you seen a difference between men and women?
Yes, in some, but it's yes, I have. But it just depends. Like I've seen differences in women that are moms versus women that are single. You know, I've seen differences in men that are dads versus men that are single too. It is different in their motivation levels. It all comes down to what is their why. Why do they want to make these changes? And here what I found across the board, if their why is I want to look good or I want to be skinnier, that doesn't last very long. There has to be a why that's bigger than you, whether you're a dad, a mom, single, or whatever. there has to be some other reason that is a bigger why. Otherwise, you're going to burn out really quickly if it's just all about looks. But yeah, as far as motivation goes for men and women, yeah, it's different. Some guys look in the mirror and think they look great, and they're 50 pounds overweight. Some women are perfect, and they always will consider themselves fat. And it just depends, you know?
Yeah. Here we have another question.
Yeah, I've got one living in my house. Same thing.
Here's another question from Lithavri. I can't even read the name. I can't pronounce the name. But how did your relationships change, friends and partners? Your time period was a little short, and you had friends, when you were like this. So give us a little bit, and then Jeremy and I will share a little bit about that, because I think it would be quite different.
I know, totally. And here's the thing. I'll answer that question about as far as how my relationship changed with myself, because nobody was mean to me. Nobody teased me or was rude to me, or my friends weren't like, well, we're not friends with you anymore, because they knew what I was doing, right? So it's totally different. I will say that going out in public, I did receive more judgmental stares, whether that was in my mind or not. I felt like I was being judged more at the grocery store, at the gym when I was overweight. But a lot of that could have just been in my head. I don't know. I didn't ask those people, what are you thinking right now? Are you looking at me because I'm fat? I didn't ask them that and survey them, but it didn't really change. But my relationship with myself changed. I didn't know who I was anymore. I had self-esteem issues. I didn't want to see myself naked. I didn't want my wife to see me naked. And I just had no confidence. And there's nothing sexier than confidence. Let's be honest, you guys, no matter what size you are. So it's a totally different experience. I can imagine for you guys, though.
Yeah, I know, Jeremy, tell us a little bit about your experience as far as when you were overweight to when you got fit. How did your relationships change? Your social habits, etc.
Sure. Well, I had been overweight essentially my whole life. I mean, I was the chubby kid. I was the chubby guy. I was chubby when I got married to my wife, and we've been married. We're going on 16 years now. And so she stuck with me through gaining more weight during our pregnancy than she did. She's stuck weight. She has been this like clickety clack. She's been this tight little package our whole marriage. And she's seen me go, well over 100 pounds in both directions. And so I can't say that it was like this big thing where all of a sudden I couldn't find a girl to save my life. And now after losing the weight, I've found love. I can't say that, because my wife has been supportive and stuck with me the whole time. But I can say, my first day in the gym, absolutely intimidating. There's gym intimidation. I was afraid to go into the weight room once I even got to that point. At first, it was just cardio. There was all sorts of judgment that was on me from all these angles that I felt. And again, just like Drew, who knows? I never went up to them and said, "Hey, are you judging me?" I never interviewed them. But you feel it. You feel like, oh my God, everyone's looking at me. I'm making a fool of myself. But now I walk into the gym and I swear I cannot get it through a single workout without somebody coming up asking me, oh, why are you doing this? Or how much protein do you eat? It's some sort of comment on.
Do you even work physique. Out, bro?
Yeah, I'm sure. Are you gonna get in shape sometime today? And so, so I can't really say is that, but I will say while we were talking, Mrs. Jeremy Reid Fitness asked, were you married at the time when this happened, Drew? You're married now, right?
I was married at the time. Yeah, for about I'm trying to think. It was 5 years into our relationship, into our marriage that happened.
Okay, and how did your wife come into play with all of this? And was there any sort of, would you say that the support system from your home life, your wife, your close, let's say the top 5 people in your life, how did that influence, would you say, your output? Because there's also a lot of people who say, my husband or my wife doesn't support me. She eats or drinks whatever she wants. I'm in this on my own. They're trying to sabotage me, all this stuff. How would you say it was when you were doing it? And how, in an honest answer, how did that affect
Yeah, that's
your
a great
outcome?
question. So as I was putting on the weight, it definitely took a toll on our marriage at the time, because here's what changed about me. I was normally a high energetic person, helping with the kids, helping around the house. And then obviously with that type of diet and that type of lifestyle, you guys, I lost that energy. I just didn't have it anymore. and I wasn't as helpful. And she would get mad at me. She's like, "This is just an experiment. This isn't really who you are. Like, I need you to help me with the kids. I need you to help me on the house." And I just didn't have the energy. And she didn't care that I was overweight. Like, that she wasn't unattracted to me because of that. It was because of how I saw myself. I was just lacked that confidence. So she did support me, but at the same time, I kind of sabotaged myself because I was like, "Oh, poor me. Like, do I look fat in these jeans?" Like, I was always complaining. I'm tired. My belly hurts, all these things. As I lost the weight, here's the interesting thing is she has never been healthier in her life than that moment when I was trying to lose the weight. She was more motivated in our, more so than in our entire marriage to be healthy again, because she saw what it did to me, I think. And she realized, wow, the food affects people at like a cellular level, and his personality is different, and I did have the support from her. Now, not everybody has that, and that's really hard to go on a journey by yourself and leave your spouse behind. Sometimes it's really hard because that's their fears that they're going to be left out, that you're going to leave them behind, and you're going to, start being with other people that are more fit, and you're going to, leave them in the dust. And so you got to find ways to include them in the process without saying, "Oh, are you going to eat that?" Or, "Hey, you should really go to the gym," because it sounds really rude and just causes contention. So you got to find a way to do it as a team, which is different for each couple, but it's definitely essential in being successful as a couple and finding healthy ways. And so, yeah, I don't really have an answer. It depends on each person's situation for that, but.
Well, that's a great answer.
So while you were gaining the weight, did you turn into kind of the woman where you were like, "Babe, did these jeans make me look fat? Like, how does my butt look in these jeans?"
I'm laughing because exactly. I'm laughing.
No, your fat ass makes you look fat, man. Stop eating cinnamon.
It's not the jeans. It's your fat ass.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Mountain Dew, man. But
no, I laugh because that's so true. She'd be like, "You're like a woman now. You're complaining about how you look and how you feel," and she definitely let me have it.
Yeah. No, Ellie, I didn't mean to pass you up, man. You asked me how my support system and my all this was. I want to know how yours was when you were going through the process and all of that. How did your top 5 people affect your success and your mindset going into your journey?
Well, really quickly, because we're coming up to the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I didn't have a support system. I really didn't. I did what I did all by myself. I mean, even my children, which were very young at the time, just didn't understand why I was spending time at the gym or why I was running, X amount of miles. It just didn't make sense. My Hispanic mother, I still had 50 more pounds to lose, and she told me, "You look sick. You're losing too much weight." So, so I didn't really have that support, but I didn't care. I knew I had this goal. It wasn't even a goal of how much weight to lose. It was just, I was feeling good at what I was doing. So I kept doing it, period. Yeah. What the big change is, I was going through a divorce at the time. So it was I didn't get divorced because I lost weight. Everybody asked me that question. It was kind of a process of me finding myself, and that divorce was part of it. So I was single after, almost 20 years of marriage. I wasn't dating girls when I was in high school. Well, in high school, I had a couple of girlfriends, but after that, I was with my ex-wife, married, and that was it. So I did see a very big difference in the way I was getting attention from the opposite sex, sometimes from the same sex. It was honestly, it sounds funny, but it was shocking. It was like, I was like, wow, I was getting served at Starbucks differently than I was before. I would get free coffee from the girl. So it's just psychologically, that's how my relationships changed. And of course, there was people in my life that kind of dropped out naturally because that wasn't their lifestyle. It wasn't like we didn't want to be together. It was almost like a natural separation, and then people came into my life naturally that follow this lifestyle, hence Jeremy Reid, Drew Manning, and countless other people, friends, acquaintances, and things like that. But anyway, we are at the top of the hour. I want to thank again our special guest, Drew Manning, New York Times bestseller, Fit to Fat to Fit. We're going to mention the book one more time, guys. Go out and get it on Amazon.com. Make sure to tune in to Drew's hit TV show on A&E, Fit to Fat to Fit, 10 p.m. on Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central. And check Drew out on Fit to Fat to Fit. That's Fit, F-I-T, the number 2, Fat, the number 2, Fit on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, every social media out there. He's there. Reach out to him. Drew, once again, thank you so much for being here, dude.
Thank you
for giving us
guys.
an hour of your time. And, you're out in Hawaii. Enjoy it. Mahalo, aloha, or whatever else.
Hey, what island are you on?
The Big
What island
Island.
are you on?
Hawaii. I live
Okay.
in Kona
All right.
on the west side.
Very
Yeah.
nice, man.
Okay, sweet.
We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to do a
Awesome.
live feed from Kona.
Yeah.
All together. Dude.
Yeah,
You know that, right? I was just gonna say I'm vacationing in Oahu in June.
Okay.
I've rented a big house out there, and I'm going to be vacationing out there with my family. I was just going to say, Ellie, we got to put something together, man. Fly out there. Let's do it. Let's do something big.
Let's do it, you guys. Let's do it.
Instead of Blab, we got to bring some production crews. We got to film this stuff. We got to work out on the beach. We'll just do it up.
Man. I'm out there. I'll be out there just for vacation. So whatever you guys do, man, I'm there. So Drew, thanks again, man. Peace out.
Hey, thank you, guys.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Take care, man.
Okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
being-
Please.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Peace.